Hello and welcome to Engine Adventures review of this 2023 Lexus LS500 F Sport. So I'm just going to tell you right up front, this thing comes in at $88,000, so it's about $13,000 less than the Genesis G90 I tested last week, and we'll get into a few reasons why in a little bit. But this thing kind of lives up to the F Sport name, so it's very planted, feels very solid, even for the size of it. You know, it's definitely not a sports car, it's not zippy in the corners and all that stuff, but it remains flat, very flat for how big this thing is. The one thing I really do like is the styling on it. It still has the Lexus giant grille, which I haven't decided yet. I mean, it's not absolutely terrible on this vehicle. It's pretty bad on some others, but anyway, not quite as bad here, but so many curves and arches. And so you have like an arch here, and you get the creases, like the tight creases on there as well. So it's a good blend all across of the design, and I really just like the way the body on this vehicle looks. Of course, that's all just opinion, and these Lexus wheels as well are very attractive wheels in my opinion. I believe these are 245 45 R20s here up front, and I think the rears are the same. Let's just make sure, because they look a little bit wider, but 275 40 R20s, so the rears are about an inch wider than the front's a little over an inch wider. So anyway, this one is all-wheel drive, and I did just one time doing a 0 to 60 feel the wheels slip a tiny bit. It's definitely rear-wheel drive bias, but with the all-wheel drive layout, it's got good traction and pulls really pretty hard once you get above 2,000 RPM. We'll get into all that in the driving section. Let's take a look at the trunk while we're out here. Oh, there you go, LS500 all-wheel drive. The button's clear over here on the far right-hand side. You can see right there. And decent sized trunk here. It feels maybe just a hair smaller than what the G90 had, but pretty close. And then under here is just the battery. So as far as I could find, there is no spare tire, or I guess you wouldn't call it a spare tire, but the tire repair stuff. Like the Genesis had some sort of slime gel, and this is just the cargo net. Anyway, there's a fuse box there. There's a fuse box under here. Don't remember what's under this one. Oh yes, the tow hook, and there's a little screwdriver there. Anyway, as far as I know, there is no like spare tire or tire repair thing in this. It does have a powered trunk lid. Sorry, drawn a blank there. But anyway, I do like the design a lot on this. It's got the dual panoramic sunroof thing there where this one opens, that one does not. But let's go ahead and take a look inside, and I'm gonna fire it up. I love, in this situation, I feel like this clock looks really nice. That's not always the case. Oops, wrong button. We're gonna turn off the air here. Try and keep it as quiet as we can on the interior while we're doing this. Let me see fuel mileage. I know it was on there. 20.7 miles per gallon, including a bunch of 0 to 60 runs. Oh, okay, 3, maybe 4 0 to 60 runs recently. Not bad. I think you'd average just a little bit more than that. Let me grab the window sticker. So 21 is the combined, and I feel like I was closer to like 23, 24, 27 highway, 17 city. So not bad overall, especially if you're doing a lot of highway driving. You know, you're getting 30 miles per gallon with 416 horsepower out of the twin turbo V6, which we didn't look under the hood. So we'll do that in just a minute. I'll do that after when I shut it off. But anyway, Yeah, the interior is nice and comfortable, and these seat bolsters they're not adjustable, and they're a little bit stiff. So if you have your wallet in or whatever, most of the time you move your wallet to the side a little bit so you're not sitting right on it. With these ones, it pushes that back into you. Usually I take my wallet out when I'm driving anyway. And the side bolsters are also pretty good on this, and they're non-adjustable. So you have right here, it'll adjust your leg support. Let me go back a little bit so you can see. So this one, of course, you can adjust the leg support there, and this is your lumbar, so you don't have a way to adjust those side bolsters. And so I'm pretty average size. If you're bigger than me, this is probably going to be a little tight to fit in. And plenty of controls here. It's not terrible to use. I should rephrase that. It's pretty good to use. There are just a few things that I don't like about it. It does have the head-up display. Adjusting the brightness on it is a little bit difficult, but it's a very wide head-up display. So on the right, it shows your speed, RPMs, what gear you're in, and I wonder if this even shows up. You can see it a little bit, but anyway, so on this side, you have your speed, RPM, and what gear you're in. Right in the middle, you've got your lane keep assist, your adaptive cruise control type stuff, and then on the left, you've got the compass. And that is adjustable if you go through all the menus and stuff. I do like the dark mode. It was in the light mode or the automatic mode before, but I prefer the dark mode personally, which may or may not show up on camera very well, but looks much better to me. And one thing I hate, you guys know, is piano black surfaces. So you can see the reflection there as it is, and imagine on a non-cloudy day when there's a very bright sun, the kind of reflection you'll get off of that. And right there, so a huge piano black surface there. Really not a good design, in my opinion. This button is to just get to the seat adjustments quickly, but every time I push it, it doesn't do anything. So I don't know. Ah, there we go. You have to hit it there. Let's see. So you can adjust these. In, out. Yeah, there we go. So I didn't know that. And plenty of other, tons of other adjustability here. So apparently you just have to get into this screen. When I hit this button here, then I have to hit adjustments, and then I can get into all those other ones. So that makes more sense. That's good to know. So I take back what I said before, where these side bolsters can be a little tight, because you can open those up a little bit if you are bigger than me. And it is getting hot in here. I'm going to turn the fan on just a little bit, so hopefully it doesn't mess up the sound. Interior design is good. The screen does stick up a little bit. I've talked about it before. I don't like the tablet-like screens that are sticking out, but this one's not terrible, but it could be a little better integrated without hardly any more effort from Lexus. Maybe that's a design cue that people like to see, and that's why they're doing it. Kind of these little shelves. This almost looks like a screen over here, but it's like carbon fiber. It's not like you get in the Grand Cherokee and the Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneer, that screen over there. It's not an actual screen. Decent sized glove box. You can fit full size sheets of paper across, but it's not, actually it probably is deep enough. So anyway, this center armrest could be opened from either side, and it has a little sliding tray in there, a couple USB ports. It does have this spot for your phone. It is not wireless charging, just a standard, just a pocket to hold your phone there. And again, I feel like things could just be optimized for interior space a little bit more on this. This one is a lower trim. I would say you have a lot of button blinks here, a few more blinks over here. Do have 2 more USB ports up there, but anyway, I don't like seeing blinks, especially on high-end cars. It's not a big deal, but it would be nice to not have all these blinks around. Stereo system, this is actually not bad, so I like it a lot. If you're in the, I'll grab the audio, and you can just scroll through stations one at a time using that. And then of course this outer one is the volume knob. So I like that layout. Would be nice to have something here to do it with, but right there, it's not bad. Your hand if you're like me, you like to rest your hand on the shifter or whatever while you're driving, it's not a big jump to go to there. Like I said, I would prefer it to have it back here, but not bad. So all the seat controls are here, passenger side, heat, ventilation. If you hit it once, it goes to auto, and then you can cycle through it. Same with the heated steering wheel. This is the rear window shade. And up here, this is the front shade. This is the rear shade. And I guess we'll open those up. And anyway, then you get the panoramic view there. All right, so you have paddle shifters here for the 10-speed transmission, and it is a tiny bit slow. I think they try and smooth the shifts and whatever, but it feels like it slows the car down a little bit in the 0 to 60, and you know, just regular driving, there's a little bit of a delay in that shift. They could tune that to be a little better. I know this is a smooth vehicle for smooth driving, and maybe if I were in Sport Plus mode, so right here you can shift or change between comfort, normal, and if you push the button on the end, it goes to the custom mode, and Sport Plus modes. If I were in Sport Plus mode, maybe it would crisp up those shifts a bit more. In the 0 to 60 I ran in Sport Plus, it seemed like they were a tiny bit faster, but not a lot. So maybe I'll get some more driving of that. Then on this side you have snow mode, and if you push it in, you turn off traction control, and if you push and hold it, it turns off traction and stability control. All of the doors are soft close, so there you go, sucks in. It's kind of slow, but it'll do it. And then back here, so overall, the leather and all of it feels pretty good, but it's not quite as good. It feels a little harder, not quite as nice as the leather in the Genesis did. And then of course the Genesis had a lot more features for the rear seats, massaging seats in all four. There were a lot of other features there you can get on this vehicle, but this is a lower trim level. So if you're gonna spend the extra $30,000 or $40,000, you'll get all those extra features that the Genesis had. And anyway, so it's hard to compare apple to apples because these are two very different trim levels. The Genesis I had was the very top trim level, and then this one is kind of a mid-lower trim. These LSs start around that 85 range. This one's 88. So anyway, this one's not the highest end trim Lexus LS. You do get vanity mirrors there for both sides, and a pretty good Mark Levinson sound system. It does have the window shade here, but it's the back. You don't have control over this window shade. And there's also, you can move the front seat forward or back with this one, but I don't know why that's as necessary. I guess it will give you more legroom if you need it. Not, I mean, if you wanted to stretch your legs completely out, but there is a ton of legroom here. Anyway, the seats don't recline or anything, so it's not really needed. But it does have that there. A couple more USB ports here. Those are both USB-Cs, and cup holders right there. Down here on the front, just a regular 12-volt power socket. And again, right here, I'm guessing in the higher trim levels, you would have maybe some climate control stuff. But on this one, you don't have any. Sorry, I'm messing with that rear window. On this one, you don't have a separate climate control for the rear seats. It's all controlled from the front. Yeah, I think that's about it. I mean, you get these lights, you can turn on one, you can turn on both the middle ones. And it's a big vehicle. It was easy enough to fit the 3 kids back here and whatever. And it does have the car seat anchors all the way up there, so it's a little hard to reach, but it has those in all 3 spots up there. There is that 3.4 liter, and Lexus actually calls it a 3.4 liter, where Toyota was calling it a 3.5 for a while. Anyway, twin turbo V6, 416 horsepower, 442 foot-pounds of torque, and the torque kicks in about 2,300 RPM. So you have a little delay when you're doing 0 to 60, but if you're moving and you push on the gas, then it really does move pretty well. And like all luxury vehicles, lots of plastic covering everything. So if you need to check something, there are a few things you can get to okay around here, but your washer fluid. Anyway, a few things you can do easily, but for the most part, there's a lot of plastic covers. There are a lot of plastic covers that you need to get by to be able to do this. So a few other things, you have these cooling ducts, and they are all functional. So you can see the radiators in there, probably intercoolers for the twin turbo, stuff like that. And that just helps a lot. The battery, it actually shows you right here. We showed you that in the trunk. So it does have 2 batteries. I don't think this one does. It might. So it has the regular lead acid battery, but if you have the like a hybrid version, it will have a nickel metal hydride battery as well. And as I said, this one, you can see the transmission right down there. I don't think there is a nickel metal hydride battery, which would be in the hybrid version. Here in the LS on the freeway, it's what you'd expect. I honestly feel like there's a tiny bit more road noise in this than there was in the Genesis G90. I don't know if going to the higher trim levels of the LS would help with that. It seems like the G90 had really good active noise canceling and just was a little bit quieter on the road. They're both similar in smoothness. The reason I'm bringing all this up, I tested the G90 last week, so I have a pretty good back-to-back comparison of them. And there we go, sorry, I'm getting out of the way. The LS is a little bit more sporty. This is the F Sport trim, and even in like the normal drive mode and stuff, it's just a little more stable in the corners, a little more sporty. The other interesting thing on the LS500 is this twin turbo V6 does need to get up in RPMs a little bit to give you the power to move. So I mean, when you're cruising, whatever, it's just fine. You're not going to be struggling to keep speed or whatever at freeway going up over the, you know, right there, just going over another road, going over an overpass or whatever. It's not going to be an issue. And when you are needing to accelerate to pass somebody, it does need to downshift, get up into that a little bit higher RPM, and then it's got plenty of power. Like this thing has plenty of power to get where it needs to go. But in the G90 Genesis, it had, from the supercharger, electric supercharger, and the twin turbos, it just had torque through the whole range, so you didn't have to downshift nearly as much in the G90 as you do in the LS. One thing that seems to help a lot on these big sedans is the rear steer. So when you're going around a corner, it just feels like it's much more effortless to take the corner at high speed. You know, you still slide around inside a tiny bit. Like, I don't as a driver because the seats hold me really well, but you can hear, like, I have something on the floor there and it'll slide. And yeah, I mean, it feels really good, really planted, and just goes around the corners, no problem. All right, 0 to 60, flat footing it, 3, 2, 1, go. A little bit of a delay. Turbos kick in at 2300 RPM. 60. So 6.3 seconds, and let's do one more. We're gonna hit sport mode, sport plus, and I'm going to launch with a tiny bit of brake torquing, because I think that's the biggest issue on this one. Is it is struggling a little bit until you get to 2300 RPM, and then it launches hard from there. So here we go. Save that one. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Honestly, 60. So 6.12. It didn't do that much better, and I did a little bit of brake torquing, but not a lot. It's interesting. I thought it would do much better than that with the brake torquing and in the Sport Plus. So anyway, not terrible. It's not quite as quick as the Genesis. Like I said, I think that is because of the supercharger down low. It has the electric supercharger and then the twin turbo V6. This one's just the twin turbos, no electric supercharger, no additional boost down in the low RPM range. And so it needs to get up just a little bit to get going. But you know, it's not an issue at all. I would, you know, if you're starting, whatever, if you're merging into traffic, you need to get in quickly, this thing will do it, no problem. So no issues there. All right, let's go over the Monroney really quick. Base price for the LS500 all-wheel drive S Sport is $83,235. Head-up display is $1,220. 23 speaker Mark Levison surround sound, $1,940. And the panoramic glass roof, another $1,000. Brings a total 87. You add in the $1,150 for destination. The total is $88,545. And lots of standard features, as you can tell, but it does have a few options there. And like I said, you can get your Genesis is going to be the same price as this. The one I tested was, you know, $13,000 more and a little bit nicer all around. Just, it was, to me, it would be worth that $13,000 if I had it. And I'm, like I said, I'm not sure on the apples to apples comparison for a regular Genesis versus this instead of a top trim, or a top trim of this versus a top trim Genesis. I did notice massive 6-piston front brakes and 4-piston rear. Let's go take a look at that in just a second. But with the F Sport, these 20-inch alloy dark vapor chrome wheels look really nice. Yeah, just a lot of really 28-way power front seats. Anyway, lots of different things there that it's hard to go over all the features in a short 10-minute video, but anyway, look at the size of those brakes. So the 20-inch wheels with 6-piston calipers. I mean, you need a 20-inch wheel just to fit this brake setup in there, because these brakes are so massive. And of course, I didn't track this thing. I'm not going to track a vehicle like this, but the stopping power is there with the size of those brakes for the size of this vehicle. Thank you for watching Engine Adventures review of this 2023 Lexus LS500 F Sport. This one's all-wheel drive, excellent highway cruiser, of course. And this thing, again, I love these big SUVs, big sedans. They're one of my favorite vehicles to drive. They're so smooth, so quiet, just relaxing, nice to drive for your daily commute. And then this one with the F Sport actually is a little bit sporty. It's nothing crazy, but it's definitely a little bit sporty. And with those wide rear tires and everything, it grips fairly well. I only had it slip a tiny bit once, and it was on a dirty road. I had a lot of dust and dirt on it. Anyway, great vehicle overall. I love these large sedans. $88,000, and it really is probably a good value. So it's right in the range. You're not really going to find too many vehicles this nice for that price. And, you know, on these upper ends, you can get a G90. They start around there, $80,000 for the regular trims, which I wish I had apples to apples comparison with those. Your Mercedes S-Class is going to be more, of course. Audi A8 is going to be a little more. Anyway, not a bad price for everything you get here compared to what's out there. But overall, very nice drive. Plenty of power when you need it. Cruises just fine when you're not in the power. And yeah, love this vehicle. If you liked what you saw, be sure to hit subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we post new videos. Give me a thumbs up and comment down below. If you didn't like it, hit subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications, do all that normal stuff. But comment and let me know why you gave me a thumbs down so that I can do better in the future. Thanks again. Have a great day.